wanted to make a video on restriction of calories, being on diets, and slowed metabolic rate, what it means. I always start out with asking people when they come to me and they want me to be their coach or they want me to work with them is, I need to know where you are right now. I need to know how many calories you're eating right now, what you're doing, kind of. And sadly, most of the responses that I get are, I would say I'm eating between 800 and like 1,010 calories or 1,200 calories. And I lose it. I'm like, of course you're not getting your results. Of course you're not losing the weight because your body is in starvation mode. You've put your body through way too much and you've restricted your calories and you kept not getting the results, so you kept restricting it and you thought that that was the answer because that's what the food industry tells us. That's what society tells us. It's calories in versus calories out and nothing else counts. Doesn't matter what you eat as long as you burn off more calories than what you put in. So let's say you were on a strict diet and you lost 20 to 30 pounds. And then you were like, you know what? Heck yeah, I got to my point where I want it to be. Now I can go back to eating again. So what happens when you go back to eating again? You are probably more hungry, and this is called body fat overshooting, which is very common. What happens is that your body makes a lot of adaptations when you're dieting. When you restrict your calories and you don't do the diet properly, but you just look at it as calories in, calories out, and you do hours of cardio and you're like, okay, you go on to some online calculator and you calculate out that your TDE is supposed to be like 1,800 calories. And, you just type in your age and how tall you are and your gender and how much you exercise. And then that calculator will give you, the magical numbers. The magical numbers that if you follow this, then, you will lose whatever is going to happen. So let's, you get the number and you start dieting and, you're on restricted calories and you do this for a week. You do it for 2 weeks. If you restrict your calories and you eat 1,200 calories for a week, your body will be in starvation mode. Your hormones will change. Your body will step into a different state. It will not care about anything else but bringing you back to that state. It's also harder for your body to utilize body fat. It's much easier to burn glucose. When your body runs out of carbohydrates, the glucose, it will go to protein and it will want to burn down the protein. This is called catabolism. Once it burns down the protein, once it turns the protein into glucose for its second way of getting the energy, which is just making ATP in your body, it will go to fat. That will be its third destination to burn down fat. First it'll be glucose, then it'll be protein, and then once it burnt down the protein, it will be like, crap, I'm still starved, I need something else, then it will go to your fat stores. That's when it'll start to break down fat. They've actually done a study where they looked at twins, identical twins, and they had one of the twin do different diets throughout her life, and the other one just didn't diet, just ate normally. And what they found is that over time, the twin that did more diets actually gained more weight back in the end. Essentially, if a person attempts to do diets over diets throughout their life, what happens is that they'll actually gain back more body fat than they had in the beginning. But why does that happen? It's not because dieting makes you fat. It's the circumstances that the diets create. People out there, once they hit their goal weight, they gain it all right back because they want to go back to eating normal. Which is why I am so against diets. I am so against, cleanses and all that crap, because all it does is just it decreases your metabolism and it's a quick fix. It's a quick fix for a short time. You have to understand that to lose weight, to get into better shape, to do all of that, it takes time. This is a lifestyle change. And that is why it's a lifestyle change. It's not just because you'll get better results. It's not just about that. It's about the fact that if you don't do it the right way, you can end up in the hospital. You can have a crap ton of problems with your central nervous system. You can have decreased thyroid hormones. You can have decreased leptin levels. When you diet for a long time and you restrict all those calories, and then you go back to your old eating habits and you gain more weight back, you actually increase the number of fat cells that you have in your body, which I don't know how much you know about that, how fat cells, adipose tissue works, And that is the problem with these diets, you know. So once you finish with the diet, your body has not only been trying to close that energy gap, but it's actually been preparing itself for rapid body fat gain. So, you know, to a little bit hit on the whole reverse dieting thing, you know, why I talk about it, what it even means, because people always ask me, you know, how you transition from competition prep diet to competition and then to reverse dieting. And it's not easy. It's actually, it's one of the hardest things I've ever done, because when you restrict yourself for that long and diet for that long, which I don't really consider it dieting because this is my lifestyle, and I wasn't on very low calories and I was still eating a lot of carbs, a lot of fats. Yes, the last couple of weeks was rough, but since I did a 20-week prep and diet, I was in a very good place, even, you know, a couple weeks out. But where my body was right before my competition, like a couple days before my competition, is kind of where I have to start right after the competition. So if I was doing 2 45-minute sessions of cardio a day and I was at 1,500 calories, let's say, and 100 grams of carbs, or I was carb cycling, I don't know. You know, I always do different things, or other people are doing different things. But if I was at that point, then that's where I would have to start right after my competition. I would still do an hour and a half of cardio a day, start about at 1,500 or 600 calories, maybe add 20 grams of carbs into my diet and just keep eating clean. And then, you know, maybe in a week or two I add more calories in and I decrease my cardio even more. It's the whole key is that you go from where you were. You know, it's like you diet down from the 20 weeks and then you kind of diet up. But it also depends on your goals. It also depends on what you're trying to do. I'm trying to stay lean in the summer, and I'm trying to not have my prep and my diet take over my life, where I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I going to eat if I go here? Am I going to have my food with me? I'm trying to not put that first. Of course, my health is very important, but I'm trying to have that mental freedom where I've learned so much now that I don't need a plan to know how to eat right. You know, I don't need a scale to know how much vegetables or how much chicken I should be eating. So I usually eat every 2 hours, every 2 to 3 hours. So my body actually lets me know, okay, Elise, you're hungry, you should eat now. It's been 2 hours. And then I go and I'm like, okay, I should have some protein with some fats, or I should have some protein with some carbs. And that is how I do it, because previously, after my competitions, of course, I went nuts and I didn't know what to do. I binged, I ate this, I ate that, and what do you know? It's like 2 weeks after my competition and I'm 20 pounds over my stage weight. And it happens very, very fast, and that is exactly why, what I just told you guys. It is because your body was in starvation mode. You put your metabolic rate down. Your body could not maintain that state. You know, it wants to survive. It wants to put the fat cells back into your body, and it wants to feel good. It wants to feel healthy. A woman's body does not want to stay at 8% body fat. It is not happy in that state. I'm not happy in that state. Life does not make sense in that state. A competition diet cannot be maintained for the rest of your life. It's just a fact. It's how it is. Calorie restriction and the intensity of the cardio and training, it is not possible to maintain that. No wonder competitors start to lose it a couple of weeks out from show. It's nuts. And at the end of a competition, your body is so lean that it actually needs to gain some fat back. It's healthy to gain some fat back. So this is where reverse dieting comes in for competitors. Reverse dieting just gets you from a very lean state to an appropriate state for your body. You're obviously not going to reverse diet yourself back into like 5,000 calories a day and stay just as lean. That's just not going to happen. But it also depends on how restricted was your diet, you know, how long you dieted for. I didn't even get close to as low calories as most of the people that email me saying that, oh my gosh, I'm not losing weight, I'm not getting my results. Honestly, I'm not even sure where my calories were right before competition, but it was probably at about 1,500 or 600 calories, which for me that was low. But for a lot of people, that would be their high. You know, a lot of people would be, a lot of girls that email me, that would be their high number. And when I, when I give them their diet and I'm like, okay, I upped it by 100 or 200, like they're scared because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start gaining weight. But that is not true. You're not going to start gaining weight from, adding an extra 100 calories to your diet. We are just trying to increase your metabolism, because when you decreased your metabolic rate, it'll be a lot harder for you to lose weight. It'll be a lot harder for your body to burn any more fat, because it just wants to survive. So it does not want to burn any more fat. It wants to regain the fat. So I'll make another video on, increasing your metabolism and how to recover your metabolic rate, which also, it does take time, but it does depend on how long your diet was for and how restricted it was. It could take a couple months, but sometimes if people dieted for a really long time and they had restricted calories for a really long time, that could take a really long time. So reverse dieting does not mean that you're going to maintain. It means that you are going to gain back as little fat as humanly possible. You can have a leaner body, but you have to keep doing what you're doing. You're either restricting your calories more and doing less cardio, or doing more cardio and eating more food. I personally like a lot of food and I like a lot of cardio, so I do both. And I always work on speeding up my metabolism, tricking my body every day, not doing the same things and not restricting all the time, because that is what's going to slow down your body.